Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of No Limits. But no, there aren't just two of us this night. Now we have three. This is a Motor City Madmouth. My name is Scott Morganroth. Please be joined by my co-host on Inside the Pigskin, Mel Farr, coming on. Well, welcome to No Limits, Mel. Your first rodeo with this show.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate you guys inviting me.
And last but not least, my co-host on No Limits, Jennifer Lee Cobb. Okay,
Hello.
aka formerly was a cheerleader for the St. Louis Rams. And yes, I am too cheap to ever get it wrong the other way. If you're going to get any money out of my pocket, it won't be because I said another city, which is the number 2 television market in the country, but you still won't get it out of me. No way. Or as Keith Jackson would say, holy moly. All right, never mind all that business. All right, anyways, give you a preview of the show. Jennifer's going to go over to the audience in case you're joining us for the first time, a little bit about Team Gateway to a Cure. And of course, Mel obviously will let everybody know a little bit about his foundation later on because I like the charitable work that he does for youth kids. And of course, we're going to talk about Aaron Rodgers. And last but not least, we're going to also talk about concussions, nutrition, and TBI, traumatic brain injuries. So with that said, okay, Jen, for those watching us for the first time, why don't you give everybody an overview about Team Gateway to a Cure, how long you've been doing it for, what you've accomplished, and how you've been affected. I'm giving you a loaded question.
Yes, you are. Thanks so much for that intro. And
You're
yeah,
welcome.
I've been. I wanted to do something um, coming off the field as a alumni NFL cheerleader to really make a difference and an impact in the community. My father was diagnosed with Parkinson's right around the same time Michael J. Fox went public with his disease. He battled it for 23 years. I just recently lost my dad a few months ago to the disease. So I've been doing Team Gateway to a Cure for about 5, 6 years. And I really started it to raise money and awareness for research for Michael J. Fox, which I had raised quite a bit of money over the years for the Fox Foundation. But through the timing of going through a lot of the different fundraisers that I had hosted, I had the honor of meeting Mohammed's widow, Lonnie Ali, out in Scottsdale, Arizona. And as we all know, Mohammed battled with Parkinson's himself. But many people don't realize or know this behind the scenes that Mohammed, for instance, would have never been able to light the torch at the Olympics if it wasn't for, and that's just one example, if it wasn't for his caregivers behind the scenes, his doctor, his children, his wife, his family, his friends, and the caregiver support makes all the difference. I think there's something to be said about it takes a team, it takes a village. And watching my mom be my dad's caregiver as well as myself as an adult child caring for my father and seeing the caregiving support behind the scenes, my dad was able to be that hero, that person more than the disease. He was able to brave through the disease battle of Parkinson's. And it's not just Parkinson's caregiver, it's anyone who's battling whatever, fill in the blank. The caregivers need to be recognized. They don't get enough support. And Mohammed's legacy, he started the Muhammad Ali Parkinson's Foundation, which focuses 100% of their efforts on supporting the caregiver, the one in the home, and where those resources are out there to help. So the caregiver feels like they can accomplish caring for their loved one in the home. And I think since COVID, many people have shifted. Not that nursing homes aren't for, they are for people. People can use nursing homes if that's what fits your plan. But if you choose to keep your loved one in the home, there are wonderful financial and physical resources out there to allow your loved one to stay in the home so that there are no prerequisites of being able to visit your loved one. You can come and go as you please. And your loved one is in a familiar place in the home. They hear the sounds of families' voices and laughter. They smell the food in the home. They see the sights of pictures on the wall. that's what they want. When you throw them in a nursing home, and I'm not saying nursing home may not be for your family, it may or may not, depends on what the situation is. But if you have the opportunity with the resources available in your hometown, caregiver support is available. So what we do at Team Gateway to a Cure is we really focus on the resources that are available for your loved one in the home to care for the caregiver. And it's been amazing for the last couple of years. It's been really great.
Before I turn it over to Mel, first of all, I just want everybody to know No Limits is being broadcast around the world. The audio version of No Limits can be heard on iHeartRadio, Apple, Spotify, Google, wherever you get your podcast. Please hit the red subscribe button on YouTube, South Florida Tribune. We're striving for 1,000 subscribers. Please also comment, like, and share the broadcast. Want to be a guest? Chat room's one way to do it. Also, send your topic ideas to southfloridatribune@gmail.com. If you want to advertise cost efficiently, call myself at 954-304-4941. We broadcast live on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube. Also, website www.southfloridatribune.com, Twitter at Tribune South X, whatever you want to call it. Candy Ebling is behind the scenes. Very grateful for what she does, not only in the website, but behind the scenes in terms of making sure the shows get up. So, with that said, Mel, anything you want to ask Jennifer about Team Gateway?
Well, first of all, I just want to extend my condolences out to you. And I understand how difficult it is losing a parent. I lost my dad 8 years ago, so I understand, how difficult that can be. Getting used to your new normal. I had an opportunity to meet Muhammad Ali and Lonnie. It's probably, let's see, my kids are, it's probably 22, 23 years ago. He came out and spent the day with my dad, and I had to make sure I grounded up all my kids. I'm not really starstruck or anything like that, because I guess because of the way I grew up, you run into a lot of people. But this man here, I had to make sure. I mean, I was starstruck when I saw him, and I didn't realize that he was as big as he was. I mean, he's a big man. But to watch him on Wide World of Sports and different things of that nature, and it wasn't because of him being the boxer, it's because of him and the man, the man that he was. He stood on a principle. Not that he defied the government, but he had a belief and he stood for what he believed in, and he was willing to go to jail for it. And so, he was one of the most remarkable individuals that I have had the opportunity to ever meet. Again, really, really sorry to hear that your father had to suffer from that disease. It's a terrible disease, and I pray that they're able to come up with a cure. Unfortunately, it might be too late for your dad, but it'll be right on time for some other folks. So I pray that does happen, and you continue that work.
I should point out too,
Thank you.
When I was a young reporter, and I know Jen and Mel, you've seen the pictures on Facebook because we're friends on there. I was an 18, 19-year-old kid interviewing Muhammad Ali. I spent a week with him, had that famous shot with him putting his fist right next to my jaw. And that was pretty cool stuff. I spent a week with him right when he began to have Parkinson's disease. And I'll tell you, if there's ever a saying that was more applicable, a picture's worth 1,000 words, and it really was, knowing that his vocabulary was in sharp decline. But the time I spent with Muhammad, we talked about the George Foreman fight. It was unbelievable. And of course, Angelo Dundee's a good friend of mine too, his former trainer. So every time Angelo's clients were over at the Allen Park gym in North Miami, I just truly got the phone call, you want to come out here? And that led to me meeting Sugar Ray Leonard and a few other things. So pretty good stuff. And that's why I know, Mel, you're on this for the first time, but Jennifer and I told Jen, if I have a platform and you come on anytime you want to promote this, and I'm with you 100%, Jen, to be able to do this with you together and provide the platform to get your message out. And I'll do it until I can't talk anymore and I can't breathe. So I know a lot of people say, well, why don't we put that off for a little while? Well, whatever. That's we're gonna do this as long as Jennifer wants to do it, as long as I want to do it. The people that we're going to be doing. And I should point out too that up to this point, Jennifer and I have been doing the broadcast on our own, but now we're at a point in this No Limits with Jen. I will be incorporating other individuals into the program as well. It was just I want to bring the program up to speed, so we're building our audience, so we gradually increase the time of the show as I continue to find different types of people that fit the mold of what we're trying to do. I want to make sure we get that out to the audience as well. All right. Well, with that said, you know what? I'm going to wait on Aaron Rodgers last, okay? Because I want to stay. Why not? But this is very important that I want to really get to first, Jen. We talk about concussions, nutrition, and TBI. Let's talk about traumatic brain injuries. Okay, I know that's something that you wanted to talk about, Jen. But why don't you give me an idea where what you were thinking about when you suggested this as a topic, and then we can proceed from there.
Well, I think, you know, TBI is, a lot of people have this conception that, or thought process that, football players are often the ones that have the concussions, the traumatic brain injuries. But I don't know if you many know this, but football is not the number one sport out there. The research and the statistics show that actually cheerleading is the number one sport out there that
Really?
results in um, high concussion and high TBI. And if you think about all of the stunting and the throwing up, there's more cheerleaders that are diagnosed with TBI and concussions than there are football players. And what I have a hard time understanding why these coaches would not take the um, the path that these football players are taking, and in terms of protective headgear. So football players out there, they got all the padding on and the protective headgear. Why would not, when you're in practice, cheer, and you're stunting and you're being thrown in the air sometimes 50 to 100 times during a practice, why you wouldn't wear protective headgear of some sort? You do it on the bicycle, you do it on football, you do it in lacrosse. You've got hockey players that wear headgear. I mean, it's like when you're batting the baseball, you got the baseball players who wear the headgear. So I'm wondering, like, being that it is the number one sport out there that has high incident of TBI, why would they not protect these athletes?
Is there some type of regulatory agency over cheerleadings at the youth level, whether at the high school level, or even the collegiate level?
Yeah, that's a good question. That I don't know. I don't know who regulates, and I don't know if it's at an individual high school, middle school, collegiate level, or if it's something that's you know bigger than we know.
And the reason why I ask is because you're talking about preventative. So in a lot of it, you're talking about practice, obviously, because that's where a lot of that's how you get better is by practicing, and then in practicing, that's where you're going to mess up. But what about is bigger necessarily better? I mean, do we have to go up? You know, 10, 15 people? Can we just do a nice little little pyramid, maybe two or three people up, as opposed to trying to go keep exceeding what the last person has done. I mean, sometimes the stunts, and I know there's some gymnastic qualities to some cheerleading, but maybe that's more so cheerleading competitions versus what you did on Sundays for the Rams. I mean,
Right.
you guys weren't out there doing back handsprings and all that kind of stuff, and
No,
building
Mrs.
pyramids and all
Frontieri.
that stuff, and throwing each other up in
Yeah.
the air. You guys aren't doing all
No,
that.
we were not acrobatic stars. Mrs. Frontieri, actually, many people don't know this. She was actually a Vegas showgirl dancer, and
Hmm.
so her girls, she wanted us to be, you know, dancers. We were performers out there on the field, and so we didn't do toe touches and high kicks and you know acrobatic stunts like you were just talking about. We performed as professional dancers. But this sort of cheerleading is the competitive cheerleading that you see on reality shows now, and it's become incredibly competitive. And I guess the common denominator we're talking about is what are these athletes going to do to entertain the masses? These football players, you guys come out, you're in the most amazing shape. You look like the Rock in these uniforms, and you display the most amazing bravery on the field, battling each other for a W at the end of the game. And what are people, you stack these these arenas, these stadiums with hundreds of thousands of people that are watching, millions of people worldwide for this game. For what? For the show. And so, it goes along with college. Look at college athletes, the same football game. You got the cheerleaders on the sidelines being thrown up in basket tosses and doing, all kinds of stunt. But that's not, like you said, Mel, that's not where you're seeing the concussions. You're not seeing them on field on game day. You're seeing them at practice. And so, like you said, what's the preventative, precautionary fine line that we need to draw to say, hey, how can we combat some of these TBI injuries so the statistic numbers can come down?
Yeah, I don't know, because it's always bigger is better.
Yeah.
A race car driver doesn't know he's going too fast until he hits the wall, and he knows, okay, I need to back it up a little bit. I need to ease off of it a little bit. I'm going too fast. So, I mean, when is enough enough? Even with gymnasts, they're always pushing the envelope. Whether it's figure skaters, when I was growing up, a quad wasn't even heard of. I mean, doing a triple was something big. If you did a triple, that was trying to do something extra. Now they do triples like it's nothing. Now they're on the quads, and then who knows what they're going
Right.
to be on to after that.
Yeah.
So, and I think it's the same way with competitive cheerleading. It's kind of like it's kind of like the dunk contest. I mean, once you've seen a dunk once, it can't be repeated again. You got to go bigger the next time. The dunk contest when I was growing up was a real big thing, but now you've seen all those dunks. Now guys dunk, jumping over cars, they jump over people. They got to add something to it. And I think that's probably the same thing with competitive cheerleading. Is okay, well, we've seen that before. So now what can you do? You got to be able to go bigger than that. So instead of throwing a girl up, and twisting her around 5 or 6 times, they will try to turn her around 10 times or whatever. I don't know. But
that's
at
a great
some point
point.
in time,
Yeah.
it does get to be very, very, very dangerous. I wouldn't want to be one of those girls, getting tossed around.
All right, let's go to the chat room real quickly. I know Jennifer, she loves this part, don't you? Okay, Ralph
too.
Williams.
I'm like, what does the audience want to
There
know?
you go. There you go. She's an audience. She's a performer. All right. Ralph Williams says hello, everyone. All right, there you go. And let's go to Candy Ebling. She get some really good stuff. Gymnastics practices on mats. Why can't cheerleaders practice these stunts on a mat as well? All right.
Oftentimes they do. They do practice on mats. But again, just the point that we were trying to talk, what we're talking about is it's not regulated, and there's got to be some continuity across the board, just like the precautions that football players, when you coaches, they have certain regulatory parameters that hockey's the same way, baseball's the same way. I just I just hope that they start to implement that in the cheerleading athletics.
Amazingly enough, you say that, Jennifer. Now, if anybody would have told me what I just learned tonight, and I repeat, just learned tonight, that cheerleading would be one of the leading causes of TBI, I never would have saw that coming. I really never would have. I mean, that of all things, but then now you break it down in the manner of how many times they get thrown up in the air, it makes sense. What you see in practice versus what you see in the game is indicative of what you see in sports anyhow. There's a lot of things you don't see on the inside. Now, when it comes time to game time, it really doesn't make any difference. It's just a totally different situation altogether. So I'm glad you brought that up. And I should point out, everybody, every show that we have here, I have only one goal, not only to entertain, but to inform, which is why I'm very selective of the shows that we put on the air. I'm not going to sit here. I have nothing against anything that's out there. But to me, having been in journalism 40 plus years, if you can't educate, inform, you're in trouble, because my goal is make sure somebody, and as many somebodies, but at least someone gets is a lot smarter in terms of knowledge is power. And that's my goal on every single show that we do, whether it's sports shows, non-sports shows, or in between. And again, what we have here, folks, if you have injuries, I've had concussions, and I've been in concussion protocol. Let me tell you, it's not fun. I'm still dealing with a lot of the effects of suffering those, where you get headaches, you're sensitive to noise. And I'm sure that anybody that has ever had a head injury can appreciate with a lot of those symptoms. So anything you two want to add about TBI that we haven't talked about?
Well, one thing I did want to mention is if you do have those symptoms, it's really, really important that you recognize and really cut off all stimulation. And that's audible, visual, every stimulation, and go into a dark room or dark place and allow the brain to rejuvenate itself. We are stimulated in so many different capacities all the time. There's noise and there's visualization, and it's just overstimulating the brain's inside here, it you have to just shut everything down, so the dopamine can be rejuvenated, the stress of the brain can just kind of calm down. I am now working with Tom House on a documentary called House of Arms, and I'm sure you guys know Tom House is very well known in the quarterback world in the NFL. He's worked with Brady for years. He's the reason Brady's Brady. He's a biomechanic guru. He breaks the arm down biomechanically and works with Major League Baseball pitchers as well as quarterbacks. He's working with Mac Jones now. He's worked with Drew Brees after Drew Brees came back from that injury. Tom House worked with him and got him back to, making some really good numbers on the field. But Tom House unfortunately has Parkinson's, and I have had the honor to meet him. But more importantly, he's like a father to me. He's like family, and I've been working with him for the last year on this movie called House of Arms, and it's a documentary that the director has follows him around through the life of what he goes through behind the scenes, and what he has done to so many athletes in baseball and football, and have created some of the most amazing athletes of all time, is now using the same kind of therapies and treatments to battle the biggest disease of his life. And one thing that Tom has done consistently is he travels a lot, and I call them the travel caregivers, the coaches that are traveling with him when he's putting on these youth programs and traveling to colleges and NFL camps to work with these quarterbacks and pitchers. They have his back. They can see it when Tom has had enough, or he's becoming like lazy or discombobulated, or it's overstimulation. They'll say, all right, it doesn't matter what time of the day it is. They'll say, Tom, it's time. Like, you need to shut everyone out. And he will go away into a quiet room and be completely still and shut off all stimulation so he can rejuvenate the dopamine in his brain, because stress is the worst thing that you can do to an injury or something that's your brain, if it's diseased in that capacity. And so I think it's really important that if you are suffering from any of this, any kind of symptoms, when it has to do with the brain, is to recognize it and allow yourself permission to say, it's okay for me to shut things off. Like, it's okay to say, you know what? I'm struggling. Like, if I don't shut the world off right now, give me 5, 10, 20 minutes, whatever your formula is, I'm going to be a better version of who I am because of it. And so it's just interesting how many people just feel like they have to keep going on and on and on because they have this badge of honor or war that they have to like prove that they're invincible. Well, you probably are, but you'll be even more invincible if you take a break.
Well, you know what, Jennifer, I have to admit to you, you know, I'm the biggest example of that. My wheels are turning all the time, and I tell you what, I can't shut it down. I don't know why. I just can't. When my wheels are turning, now I'm trying as hard as I can to back off a little bit, and sometimes I'm able to do that with some prescribed sleeping medication, a little, which is helping me a little bit. But let's
Awesome. That's
face it,
great.
I'm
Yeah.
trying. I didn't say I was. Okay, there's a difference. But
But it's
no,
good that you recognize it, Scott. It's
yeah.
really good that you recognize it. And how awesome for you to be able to talk about that, because there's many others that are out there that are going through the exact same thing. And I think it's so brave of you to be able to say, you know what? Like, I have moments in my days where I'm struggling. Like, if I don't shut the world off, I'm not going to be the best version of me.
Jen, you know what? I'm just bad at it. That's all there is to it. I am. But then again, when you're in our industry in the media, and I'm not afraid to admit, hey, listen, I'm far from perfect. I'll be the first to tell anybody that. But I am so far from perfect. But when you're in the media business, which is a fluent industry where your content and your wheels, you're always looking to get better. Every business has that. So I'm not just picking on the media per se, but I'm always looking to do better. I'm a perfectionist. Okay. And to me, every show in my mind has to be a 10 or I feel it's a failure. Now that's probably a bad attitude, but you know what?
No, that's great. You have high expectations. I think that's awesome of you. That's
I
great.
do.
That's awesome.
But when it comes to sleeping, I mean, who knows? I might have another. You have to get another advanced script at some point or another. But the reality is you know what? I don't care. I've always liked to joke around. Morris had 9 lives. I have to make the most of the one I have. When the time comes that I'll be sleeping, I won't be cracking needle in miners.
It doesn't have to be complicated. You could take 5 or 10 minutes of your day and just shut the world out. It doesn't have to be, a 30, 40, an hour, a minute, hour and a half nap. It's just something to just, recoup. And a visualization, and I'm sure Mel could speak very highly about this. His coach, he's been coached for years. He's been drilled into his brain. You're coached as an athlete to recognize when when you've hit a wall. And in order to perform at such a high elite level, if you don't allow yourself the permission to back yourself off when you're 100% and then you start getting sloppy, you're going to continue to be sloppy. That's when injuries happen.
Well, I'll tell you, Mel's been on me for a long time. And I don't have a problem telling this. Mel has been telling me, weighing off that caffeine. It's killing you. So what I've actually done now, though, Mel, this is the first update that you have, is I've got this green tea citrus diet stuff, which is better than what I was doing before. So I figured that's not stressing me out as much as what I was doing. Is it the means all in? Well, I got my running back here who's running on me and leaning on me every single week. You need to get this stuff
water, man. Water is the best thing for you.
Water, but this is progress toward the water direction. And when I always joke around about my medical situation, everybody talks about the Timex watch where Timex takes a licking and keep on ticking. I take a licking and keep on talking. So there you go.
Well, as a dietitian, I have to say water is absolutely the best. But also, if you can add a little extra to your water, one example what I do is I put a big huge stock pot on the stove, fill it up with water, and I just get ginger root, and grind it in there, some turmeric root, grind it in there, a couple of lemons, squeeze it, put it in there, maybe a cinnamon stick for flavor, bring it to a boil, cool it off, and I'll just drink that for the day, half of my water bottle and then half of it with regular water. But inflammation is something that is becoming more and more popular and talked about, and nutrition plays a huge role in the inflammation and going into brain health. Those are 3 really great ingredients to help not just gut health but also brain health: turmeric, ginger, and lemon. Your body's pH is a 7.0, a perfect, right? And most waters aren't a perfect pH. So you want to have, we have acidic and we have alkaline, and you want to have a balance of the both. And by drinking your water that's in a perfect pH balance, lemon is a perfect way to bring the pH of your water to a perfect pH balance of 7.0. Most people think, oh, well, aren't lemons acidic? They are, but it doesn't work that way in the body. So lemons, turmeric, and ginger are 3 great ingredients. Put them in water, boil it, throw it in your water bottle, half and half, 50-50. A good rule of thumb, half of your body weight in ounces. I'm 110 pounds, so half of 110 is what, 60 ounces of water a day. It's a good rule of thumb.
Yep, I'm in 100 ounces. I drink 100 ounces a day.
So you're 200 pounds.
Yep, 209.
200 pounds of steel, Mel.
Well, I tell everybody, okay, you got to drink half your body weight in ounces. That's what I tell folks.
Boy.
Yeah,
I
we got
take
two.
every day. I've been doing it for I don't know how many years. I take a jug with me to work every day. I cut up lemon in there.
Nice.
I might put some
Yeah.
cucumber in there. I put turmeric in there. Turmeric in
Love
there.
it.
I mean, I put ginger in there before. I've never put turmeric in there before.
Nice.
But
Good
I'll
for
start
you.
doing
See,
it.
Scott, you got two people on here trying to push you.
I
Ginger,
like it.
turmeric, little cinnamon stick for flavor.
Well,
You
I
know,
did. I was
lemons.
during the pandemic. I put on a lot of weight,
Well,
so
join the
I
club.
needed. I needed to get some weight off me too. So I mean,
Two
I've
And it's
people.
dropped
great. It gets rid
almost
of
70 pounds.
lemons are a great way to flush. You drink that half of your body weight in about 3 days. I guarantee it. You're gonna get rid of all of that subcutaneous inflammation. And it makes you feel so much better about yourself. Like, why wouldn't you?
Yeah, I mean, I used to be a
Well,
big
every
soda
now and then, though,
drinker
I
and
will tell
Kool-Aid and
you,
all that kind of stuff. I don't even do that anymore.
every
Yeah.
now and then,
Years.
what I will do at restaurants, okay, and my brother got on me. He said, "I can't believe you're doing this." I would go out there and take a glass of water, get lemon, put it in there, and put some Splenda in there. Said, "Hey, that's lemonade, and you're not paying for it." So because I'm smart enough to know there's another way to get lemonade without having to see it on the check. And
Yeah.
he's looking at, he was just joking around with me about it. But hey, why not? They're giving you the lemon for free. The Splenda's there, and you know what? I got the water, and it works out pretty good. No complaints. So I got two people encouraging me to stay as healthy as you can. That way we can do this threesome as often as we want to. And then you got
Mel,
and
what
then
do
you
you
got
think of that restaurant concoction?
Yeah, I mean,
that's
I've been
what it
thinking
is.
about the artificial sweetener. You got to try to stay away from that too.
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
I
you're
know, but
better off having sugar.
Better,
Yeah.
exactly.
so you
Your
guys are
body's gonna
disguising yourself
recognize
as
it.
mathematicians here with all this stuff you're throwing at me about all this stuff. You know, well, luckily this is just general program mathematicians, Jennifer and Mel, and me just trying to figure out what the heck is what to try to get this thing right now. Yeah, there you go. I always come up with concoctions, Jen.
Mel,
I mean,
I'm
come on, really?
so
If I
glad
can't
that
get
you
unsweetened,
just shared with me about your drink. Like, my heart is tickling right now.
Oh,
Like,
about water? I mean, I drink lemon
yes,
water. I drink lemon water every day. I don't put turmeric in it every day or ginger in it every day, but I drink lemon water every day.
I'm so excited. This is great. Makes me feel good.
well, there you go.
Like, I'm not the
All right.
only one.
Well, and one of the biggest reasons is because I intermittent fast too. So
Me too.
I only eat 2 hours out of the day.
I'm the same way.
Between 7 and 9 is when I eat every day. So I mean, so you gotta have some water. I mean, when you first start out, it's difficult because you're thinking about it because your body is conditioned for you
Yep.
to be throwing something in your face every few hours. Once you get used to it, like now I've been doing this for so long, it's not a big deal for me to go all day without eating.
Yeah, and a lot of times, what my patients or clients that would talk to me like, "Oh, I get low blood sugar," or I need to eat. It's your insulin levels are spiking, and you need to
Constantly.
retrain your
Right.
body
So
to
when
feed
you
off the
eat, they're gonna
fat.
go up.
Yes, to feed off your fat for energy. And so, when you are sick, what do you often do? The body naturally shuts
Stop
off. It's
eating.
not hungry. You
Yeah, you
stop
stop
eating.
eating. Yeah.
And what happens when you stop eating? Your body starts fighting the virus, the thing that is not normal inside the body.
Right.
So, how do you think fasting would benefit the body if you do it consistently all the time? It's constantly in a fighting war. It's the best thing for you.
Plus, we're kind of built to fast. If you think we're hunters and gatherers naturally.
Correct.
Back in
Correct.
prehistoric times, they didn't have Kroger's to go to and stock up on food and different things of that nature, and go in there and buy some chips and dip and all that and pop and all that stuff. They didn't have all that.
No,
You
no.
ate protein when you killed protein,
Right.
Yep.
and that might have been every 2, 3, 4, 5 days.
Absolutely. You're talking my language, Mel.
Yeah. How circumstances tend to work out, right, Jennifer?
Yes, I like this guy.
Yeah, I figured you would.
Trying to
I
get my
figured you
mom.
would.
I'm trying to work on my mom too. She didn't put on a
I
little
have a
weight.
feeling Jennifer and Mel will be seeing more of each other, don't I, Jen? So, all right. But
Absolutely.
anyways, our
Yep.
final topic of the night is Vanessa Williams saved the best for last. I think the whole thing's been fun anyhow. But we got to, since I've teased everybody about Aaron Rodgers, why don't we get to him since Jennifer brought it up and wanted to talk about Aaron Rodgers, okay? yes, we all know last Monday night lasted all but 4 plays, and he's going to be taking some extended time off, even though he didn't want to. So, with that said, Mel, we've talked about it on another show, but this is Jennifer's first crack at this topic. Who will replace Aaron Rodgers in 2023? And we know Zach Wilson right now is currently the QB1, and we know that Tim Boyle is the backup. There's no think there's any way the Jets are going to last with this duo all year. But you know what? We'll throw it out to Mel first, and we'll have Jennifer chime in after that.
About Aaron Rodgers and what's going on that fiasco. I mean, I feel bad for Salo because I think management. I was talking to Coach about this yesterday. I think management did him a disservice by not really having a viable option in the event that Aaron Rodgers went down. They allowed Mike White, and we talked about this. They allowed Mike White to get out of there and go down to Miami, which I don't know why they would have allowed that to happen. We know who Tim Boyle is. He's played with the Lions for a couple of years, and we know what his starting record is, and his touchdown to interception ratio is.
Right.
So, and I don't think anybody in that building. I mean, they were actively since the end of the season last year, and it became known that Aaron Rodgers wasn't happy in Green Bay. A lot of the players have been actively recruiting him on social media and whatnot.
Right.
Well, if I'm the guy who's drafted the number 2 overall, and my teammates are actively on social media trying to get another quarterback to come over here, how does that make me feel? It doesn't make me feel very wanted. It doesn't make me feel very good as well. I have to start kind of questioning myself. So, regardless of what we see, this bravado that we may see from Zach Wilson on television, his confidence has to be shot, and because confidence comes from doing things over and over and over again and succeeding in doing those things. Doing it and succeeding. He hasn't done it very, very well. And so he can't have a whole lot of confidence. And the best thing for him was for Aaron Rodgers to come in there and give him an opportunity to learn from somebody like Aaron, number one, and then just kind of rebuild his confidence level as well. And so now this is the last thing that anybody expected to happen, obviously, because they didn't really prepare for it by putting somebody else on the roster that could be a viable option at number 2. I feel bad for the coach there because obviously he's playing for his job, and I feel bad for the players because they put a lot into this. Obviously, off-season workouts. They really thought that they're going to have a chance to compete, and then 4 plays into the thing, Aaron Rodgers goes down, and now you're back with Mike White. Now, unfortunately, these coaches are going to have to earn their money. The quarterback coach, offensive coordinator, he's going to have to coach this guy up. They're going to have to get him ready to be able to go out there and play the position at a competent level. I'm not saying he has to be Aaron Rodgers, but he needs to be able to play the position at a competent level where they're not dropping 8, 9 guys down in the box and daring him to throw. Because if I'm a defensive coordinator, that's what I'm going to do. We know that they can run the ball well. We know they have a 2-headed monster. They have 2 running backs that can run the ball very, very well. They're not going to beat me running. The only way they're going to beat me is if Zach Wilson beats me, and if he beats me, I can live with that. So,
do you think, Mel, that they can smell his incompetence, like his insecurity?
Oh, absolutely.
They can smell that from him.
Without question. I mean, you see it in his eyes. There's a false bravado there, and they're going to see. You see how Dallas did him this past weekend. Micah Parsons. He knew exactly what was going on back there, and he tried to, to do everything he can to make that guy quit. And the Dallas defense, they're a very, very tough defense. They're a very stingy defense, but they got to get him in a position to do some things and be successful. Little short throws. He threw a heck of a ball, to the wide receiver when he caught that touchdown pass. That was a great ball that he threw. That was a strike. Those are the kind of things that they need to do. He needs to experience those types of things over and over and over again. Then he can build some confidence. But they're going to have to do that for him in order if they want to salvage this season.
So, Mel, let me ask you this. I know Rodgers is injured. He didn't rupture the Achilles all the way. He was walking on it, so he tore it or sprained it pretty bad. Did he have surgery or not? I don't know, but
he did. He ruptured it. He had surgery.
He totally ruptured it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because I saw him walk off the field.
Kobe walked too. When I think Kobe shot some free throws afterwards.
Okay, so my question is, being that I understand he just had surgery or whatever, but do you think that he would uh, that Zach would benefit having Rodgers kind of mentor him at this point?
Yeah. I mean, he needs all the help
Is
he
that
can get.
something that's done in the NFL? Like, do you guys help mentor each other
Yeah,
if you're on
most
the
for the most
injured
part,
list?
yes. But at that position, that's a different type of position. A lot of times they say it's not my job to do that.
Okay.
Brett
All right, let's
Favre,
go to the chat room a little. It's starting to
Brett
get a little
Favre
bit busy.
famously said it wasn't his job to mentor Aaron Rodgers. That wasn't his job. Other quarterbacks have said that. But I mean, I've played with some guys that have been extremely wonderful and will teach you anything, tell you anything that you want to know. You ask them a question, they would be more than happy to give you an answer.
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay.
All right, so let's go to the chat room. Now it's getting really busy. But while we're doing that, Mel, do you have any idea, aside from Boyle, who would be other guys that could be wearing gang green before it's over with? I'm going to start putting up chats up here. Read them. Think about it. It's a shame what happened to Rodgers. Jeremy Ballrek, who will be joining us on Fire Up Wisconsin afterwards. Dallas does it to everyone, though. The defense is legit. No kidding. Butch Davis, thanks for being on. Butch, we'll be bringing you on, hopefully, a Fire Up Michigan in a not-so-distant future. This is a damn good show. Bottle it. Oh, my goodness. Thank you very much for the kind words. Smoking Jeremy B. Let's keep it rolling. When I was 20, ruptured my Achilles. It took 10 months to walk right. Can only imagine. That's
Yeah,
one thing I
Achilles
haven't
used to
done yet, but
be
I don't want to get into my medical history. You
Achilles
guys,
used to be a career ender.
Yeah.
right? Well,
And
lots of injuries used to be career
Mel, what are
enders.
your thoughts? And there's whisper behind the scenes that Rodgers is, coming back. Do you think that's, you know, maybe later in the
It's
season? And do
possible.
you
I mean,
think why would
I've
they?
seen.
Why would they?
Well, I think he would come back if they're in a position, maybe, where first of all, you're talking about 5 months minimum. I mean, I've known guys that Terrell Suggs. I remember he tore his Achilles in the spring, and he came back sometime during the season. There was somebody else who had torn their Achilles and came back in about 5 months. I can't think of. I think it was a running back. I can't think of it. I think somebody played for the Rams. I'm not mistaken. But it's a tough injury to come back from, especially at his age. And
Yeah.
I think it's wishful thinking. I think, I don't see the Jets competing this year. I don't see a reason why he would come back. Why he would come back this year? I don't think the Jets. And let's say the Jets are in contention. Well, they must be getting pretty good quarterback play then. So why would you want to mess that up and bring Aaron Rodgers in there, who's on a gimpy Achilles?
Right.
Why would you want to risk that? If you got it going with whoever you got it going with, I'd want to just keep it going with that guy. Kind of similar to what happened with Tony Romo and Dak Prescott. When Tony Romo got hurt and Dak was doing a great job, Tony Romo didn't get his job back.
Yeah.
All right, back to the chat room. Jeremy Ballrek at 39. It may take a little while longer. At 20, I was an athlete. Also, my orthopedic surgeon was the same. There's a familiar name out there. That made Billy Sims walk again. And of course, Billy got injured on the Metrodome turf where I hurt my knee with hiking boots on that turf. We'll get into that. It's another show. One other thing to catch up the chat room. Cam Akers of Los Angeles was 22. All right. Just want to make sure we got everybody going. Keep that chat room rolling. I'll get as many comments up as I can.
Mel, Trent Green went out.
Right.
Warner came in.
Trent,
he was the
Trent
underdog.
got traded. Yeah.
Yeah, that
right.
Trent got traded. Went to Kansas City.
Yeah, that's right. And speaking of Kansas City,
eventually, yeah.
Didn't Mahomes just sign a restructure today?
Big money
contract.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, big money.
Yeah, and I also heard about the Rams capping their salary cap.
The Rams?
The Rams, I guess their dead money. There's like $700,000 in dead money that.
Oh, right. Oh, they have no more money.
Yeah, so let's look at some possible options. I'm sorry to interrupt, Jen. Sorry about that. We'll just look at some possible options for the Jets right now. I don't see Matt Corral as being an option, even though Jeremy says he's taking $15 million less per year. You know what? Matt Corral to me was released from the Patriots. He had every opportunity to win that. So I don't know. Maybe it's an inexpensive option. We all know the regular names are out there. You have, Colin Kaepernick's out of shape. I don't ever see him landing there. But Carson Wentz is out there, Nick Foles. There might be other ones that come along, and we'll see what continues to happen as a more quarterback. I know, Jen, if you had to venture, if the Jets had to bring in another quarterback, would you have an idea who you might possibly be seeing over at MetLife Stadium?
Me, who would I?
Any idea, Jen?
Me?
Yeah, I mean, who would be another?
No one. I think they hold off for Zach. I think they get in his head. He needs to manifest, get rid of that block, so the other guys can't smell the fear, and he needs to work with an exercise therapist, and just start owning it. He needs to get on the field and start owning his own game. He's not Rodgers. He's his own dude, and he needs to play his own game.
Amazingly enough, though, Jen, I do remember seeing Zach Wilson play once at the Boca Raton Bowl for BYU. I covered that game. And you know what? He thrashed Central Florida. I thought, holy moly. I mean, he was putting up numbers. So I ended up having one of his publicists come on a show, and we talked in more detail. So that was the amazing. When I saw him, he looked fantastic. And, again, this was supposed to be a year where he was supposed to hold a clipboard. Evidently, that wasn't the case. So, but it's good. I think you're right, Jennifer. Maybe the best move right now, Jen, to back up your point, will be no move, and you have to take psychological means. Mel, do you have anything you'd want to add to this? I know we'll probably talk about it on other shows this week as well, but I don't know what's changed. I don't know whether the mindset of the Jets is we lost 30-10 to Dallas, so we're going to need another person in the quarterback room as well. So any updates where you're at there, Mel?
Yeah, no, I mean, Brett Rippon, I think, was somebody they were talking about because he was familiar with the system that the offensive coordinator runs because he was in camp with Denver. But right now it's just
right.
I think they got caught flat-footed. There should have already been somebody there. I don't know who you pick up off the street to go out there and 1 year and you're going to say, "Here, take the keys to my franchise." I mean, you have to dance. I mean, you got to dance with the girl that you brought, and they're going to have to dance with Zach Wilson.
It's almost like the when you take your money and invest it in the stock market. When the stock market tanks, everybody starts emotionally feeling this fear, and they start calling their financial advisor and be like, I got to trade, I got to do this, I got to do this. Like, don't react on fear. What we got right now, we have Zach, and I think he's in this position. What can we do to bring the best version of him out? And that's where, like Mel was saying, mentors, coaches, they need to step up and do their job. They need to say, "Okay, buddy, this is what we need to do." I don't know. They brought him on the team for a reason. There's something in there. They just need to go and find it.
Sometimes they make mistakes, but
yeah.
Well, the last thing that Jets
I might be wrong. All I'm saying is, at this point, we don't want fear to be driving the factors.
True.
The last thing that any organization wants to do is admit they made a mistake on the second or third pick in the draft. That's tough to swallow. It really is. So they're giving them every opportunity, Jen and Mel, as you well know, to make sure that they get the pick right, no matter how they have to smooth it and massage it over. They were hoping Rodgers would have been that way. I'm still hoping that Rodgers is spending time with Wilson anyhow, even though he's not on the field, to try to mentor him anyhow. And Rodgers wants to do it, so it's not a matter of that.
Mel, let me ask you: do you
certainly
think
a story that will be continued?
Mel, do you think that his teammates also need to be believing in him too?
Well, I mean, right now they have no choice. But I mean, you'll know. I mean, you'll look at when the defense is balling out and the offense can't do what they need to do. I mean, look, the game that they won, the defense put them in the position to win the game. I mean, they had 4 turnovers on Josh Allen, and then the punt returner, he did a walk-off punt return. So the defense won that game for him the first time. Now you look at this game here, he wasn't very efficient. Yeah, they talk about it. Trust me. It'd be great, but they don't have a whole lot of confidence in him. I can tell you that right now. They don't,
Okay.
because they were with him last year. And then they were also the same people who were lobbying to get anybody to come there. Aaron Rodgers, whoever, whatever quarterback was available, anybody. They were lobbying on social media to get somebody to come over there. Hey, where's a quarterback away? Well, dang, man, all right, quarterback. Yeah. So they don't
So
believe
maybe
him.
he's already checked out.
It's very possible. They don't believe in me, so they don't. But I mean, he has to have some pride for himself,
Right.
and in the fact that, hey, forget about where I was drafted. I love this game. I love to play this game, and I just need to go out there and play the game that I love,
Yep.
enjoy it, and do my very, very best at it.
Great
But
point.
what we've been getting is not is very best, and admittedly, he was very arrogant when he came out. He bought everything that he read about himself and hadn't done anything yet in the league. And
Yeah.
I wasn't very high on him in college. I thought he was smallish in college. I watched him play a few games. I was never really impressed. Yes, he's athletic. He can run around with the ball, but there's a lot of athletic quarterbacks that can run around the ball and can't get much done. I mean, Alabama has one right now. They're still trying to figure out who their quarterback is.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Listen, my alma mater, USF, gave him a game on Saturday, losing 17-3, and Alabama actually dropped out of the first top 10 for the first time I think since 2015, sliding to 13. So my USF Bulls gave him a game, but in the end, Alabama came away with the W. And Alex Golish kind of reminds me of Dan Campbell. The guy isn't shy about going for it on fourth down. So we'll see from there. But what a show we've had tonight. Any closing thoughts, Jennifer, about what we've talked about? I know we covered a little bit of Rodgers. I'm with you. I think the best move right now is no move. I really hope, but let's just hope it doesn't come down to that third quarterback. They're going to have to do something. And I know they're still looking for somebody, but they don't want to sign somebody for the sake of signing somebody. So I think it's inevitable
the guy's
they're going
gonna
to
hang
get
himself. You got to let him hang himself. And maybe that's game 3 or 4. It's a sacrifice of of your, the score of where you guys rank. But we're so early in the season. But I know every game counts. I think it's worth a try. His coach just needs to get in there, but he needs to reframe and restructure his mindset, and be the team player that he's supposed to be and lead that team. Who knows? All I can say is give the guy a try and see what happens next time. And, I have no doubt in my mind that those coaches know exactly what they're doing. They've got a backup plan.
You know what? Jen, I like the way you somehow, some way found a way to tie restructuring the mindset on not just Zach Wilson. This is a compliment, so please take it for exactly how I'm delivering it to you now. At the beginning of the show, in case you're just joining us, we're obviously talking about Jen's foundation, Team Gateway to a Cure, which, believe me, if you get an opportunity, she'll have an opportunity to tell you one more time before we go off air. But then we talk about TBI. But Jennifer, you really did a good job connecting the dots on the Rodgers / Zach Wilson dynamic to TBI, to Team Gateway, and restructuring the mindset. So good stuff, Jen. That was a really good segue tie-in. And this isn't coming from a guy that's a math major who does find ways to have concoctions with my water, my lemon, and my Splenda. What do you want me to tell you? I had to do it. What can I say? So, what?
Mel's chuckling inside. I can see it right now.
Well, I'm chuckling. My running back just got hurt in my fantasy team, man. I'm not happy about that.
Aw.
Well, Jeremy's the one that just told me
what
that
is
I'm
that?
not watching
I didn't know
the
you
game.
played
I was
fantasy.
watching it, but I'm not watching
I
it.
thought you were.
Dang it, Bobby.
Yeah, well, he's with us. It's okay. Yeah, it was a. But anyways, this is No Limits. My name is Scott Morgan, North Motor City, Man. Please be joined by my co-host on Inside the Pigskin, Mel Farr, and my other co-host here on No Limits, Jennifer Lee Cobb, and the former St. Louis Rams cheerleader, and a person that I have so much respect for in terms of what her dedication is towards trying to find a cure for Parkinson's disease. And I'm glad to be with Jennifer doing this show as often as we see the opportunity to do it. And it's a show that's starting to pick up some ground. And we hope that you can not only support the show but also Jennifer's foundation as well. So, with that said, Mel, why don't you let Jennifer give her a brief overview of what you do for the kids? I think she'd probably really be intrigued about this.
So a few years ago, we were trying to figure out a way to honor my dad, my brother and I, trying to figure out what something that we could do to honor him and continue his legacy. And he was a real big person on education. So we didn't reinvent the wheel. We found somebody who was doing something that we thought was pretty neat, that was pretty neat. And actually, one of our teammates was doing it, and he was also doing the same thing up in Charlotte. So we went up to Charlotte to see it, and we said, okay, this is something that we could duplicate, that we can do. So we got with the person who originally started this down in Houston, Texas, and he gave us his blessing and gave us the people to contact to help us go ahead and get it started. Because again, we're not trying to reinvent the wheel; we're just trying to duplicate the wheel because we thought it was something that was really neat and something that was very much so needed. And we were able to. What it is we have a camp for kids who did not receive a Division I scholarship, where they'll have an opportunity on one day to showcase their talents in front of Division II, Division III, and NAIA schools. And it's like a little combine on that day, and they have an opportunity to talk to bunch of different schools. We think we had 30 schools here. We had another 30 schools, I think, up in Michigan. We had about 100 and some odd kids here and 100 and some odd kids up in Michigan.
Nice.
And just one morning, we asked them, we get some volunteers to come out there and help us for about 3 or 4 hours. And these kids go through different types of drills and have an opportunity to get scholarships from these schools or grant aids from these particular colleges, because we know there's money out there. The money is out there.
Yeah.
It's just that sometimes the kids and the universities don't get put together. So we'll have the universities all come down here, and we do everything that we have to do to make sure that we have some kids out there, and they'll be set up afterwards after they do the combine type drills. They'll be set up in their little tents with their university colors and all that kind of stuff, and have people in there, and they'll talk to them about their university, and they'll write down what guys they're interested in and have them come on over, and their parents are right there with them going through the process. So
Oh,
we've had a number of
nice.
kids that have gotten scholarships and an opportunity to continue to play football, but more importantly, an opportunity to continue their education, because we know college is expensive right now, but there's money out there. And there's schools looking for kids, good kids, and these are good kids. And so that's the thing that we had been doing. We haven't done it in a few years, I think, because COVID. We kind of stopped it. Now they still do them in Houston, but we're going to start back doing them here sometime. I don't know if it's going to be this coming year, 2024 or 2025, but we'll get back into doing that as well.
Nice. So what is the name of
it? Is down here it's called the Georgia Showcase. Up in Michigan it's called the Motor City Showcase.
Nice. I love that. That is such a great concept. And what a great way to honor your dad and the legacy that he lived on. That's continue to live through his legacy. That's great. Well, I'm touched. I really am, because you're making a huge difference to so many young men that are getting a second chance. They've dreamt about this since they started Pee Wee football at 3-4 years old.
Right.
And you're giving them that shot, and that's awesome. That's great. Well, keep me informed. I'd love to help if there's anything I can do. I'm there. I'm your shadow.
Will do. Appreciate it.
You may get that opportunity sooner than you think when you guys are reunited on a future show next month. How does that sound? So I'll go ahead and see what we can come up with. I love doing the show with Jen. You know how I feel about us doing this thing. But I told you I was looking to expand on it, and you seem like you're ready to do it. So now I'm like a hockey coach. I'm juggling my lines a little bit. Is what I'm trying to do. So what can I say? And I think we got a good one here. Then again, I know we do. So with that said, just in case you're joining us, just want to let everybody know No Limits is being broadcast around the world. The audio version of No Limits can be heard on iHeartRadio, Apple, Spotify, Google, wherever you get your podcasts. please hit the red subscribe button on YouTube, South Florida Tribune. We're striving for 1,000 subscribers. Please also comment, like, and share the broadcast. Want to be a guest? No problem. Participate in the chat room or send your topic ideas to southfloridatribune@gmail.com. If you want to advertise cost efficiently, call me 954-304-4941. We broadcast live on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube. Our website, www.southfloridatribune.com. Twitter @Tribune South. Candy Emblings behind the scenes. Following No Limits tonight, Fire Up Wisconsin with myself, Jeremy Ballrick. Thanks for all the kind words. Glad you enjoyed the show, Jeremy. And everybody else that was out there. So Fire Up Wisconsin follows No Limits. And I'll be on there once again with Candy and Jeremy. We'll talk about the latest doings on the Wisconsin sports scene. So with that said, Jennifer, go ahead and let everybody know how they can get a hold of you, all the website, the link, anything you put out there. And that way people can continue to support Team.
www.teamgateway2acure.org.
There you go. You have it. Now, anything you want to add?
Gateway to a Cure. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Jennifer Lee Cobb. Team Gateway to a Cure.
And with us. Don't forget us, Jen.
Yes.
I know. No limits.
I know limits. There are no limits.
That's it. Yeah, actually, amazingly enough, the guy that actually gave me the idea to the show was former St. Louis Cardinals pitcher Mark Littell. You ever heard of him?
No.
Yeah, he used to be. He was actually on the Cardinals World Series championship team, I believe, in the 80s.
Yeah, it was.
Mark was a great. Mark and I were really close. We really were. He came on a lot of baseball shows. So, ironically, I have a young lady here in St. Louis, and the guy that helped create the name of the show, No Limits, played for the Kansas City Royals and the St. Louis Cardinals. There's a good history.
I'd love to meet him someday.
So,
yeah.
Meanwhile, Mel and I, well, there's a little bit of a problem, Jen. He's dead.
Oh, I guess not.
So, well.
Maybe someday.
Yeah, you meet him someday, just not anytime soon.
Yeah. Mel, what a joy to meet you.
He may be team. It's a pleasure. It's all mine. Thank you very much.
Yeah, he may be team. He's Team Gateway in heaven, so I'm sure you're looking to put that off. But if I can arrange it, I'll make it happen. I got you on with Mel tonight, and looking forward to seeing how this.
Yeah, I had an amazing time, and what a joy to meet this incredible, talented man doing so many wonderful things for so many young men all throughout the country. And Scott, always a joy to talk and chat with you. And
thanks,
no
Jen.
limits. Yep, great show.
So we'll go out there and see what we plan to do better the next time. But great first act for the three of us. And Mel did it on short notice. But then again, as often as we work together, him and I are brothers of a different nature, aren't we, Mel? So,
yes, sir.
Yeah, and yet we didn't eat it at the healthiest place on the planet out in Atlanta. A big chicken.
Not at all. That was before I got on my little health craze.
Yeah, if you've ever been to the Big Chicken out in Atlanta, he'll tell you what it is. It doesn't comply with his dietary nature these days.
No.
And for those that don't know what the Big Chicken is, call it KFC. That's good enough. So with that said, on behalf of Mel Farr Jr., I can't even hold a straight face anymore. I'm losing it. I haven't already. And Jennifer Lee Cobb, this is Scott Morgan, Roth, the Motor City Man Mouth. Hope you enjoyed this edition of No Limits, and we will catch you the next time. Fire Up Wisconsin is next.